Good morning, good afternoon, or good night from whenever and wherever you are watching us. I am Cameron Scandal. That is Steven Treffler. We are the Sound. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. Happy NBA playoffs. Finally, we are here. My favorite sports time of year. Steve, you know that? I don't know if you're familiar. I think it's an SNL skit with Tim Dillon and Tim Robinson and Jason Sudeikis, where they are pitching the NBA basketball theme.
2, 3, 4. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Yeah!
That's what I feel like right now. That is my current emotional state of the NBA and the playoffs being here. I got the Heat game on right now as we currently speak. They are up 53-33 against the Bulls at almost halftime. So I'm just in a great place right now.
Hey, Cam.
Yeah.
Heat in 6, bro.
Steve is predicting that if and when the Heat go to the playoffs and they have to play the Cavs, they are going to be. Actually, no, wait. This is the 2 seed. That they're going to beat the Cavs in 6.
Argue with me in the comments section, please. Do it. I will respond.
We are happy to have you here today, folks. We have a good NBA show for you. A little bit of playoffs, a little bit of fun at the end, and of course a whole lot of sound. So, folks, without further ado, let's get right into it. Moving on to our first topic of the day. The NBA playoffs, as we mentioned earlier, set at least somewhat at this point in time. The Western playoffs seem to be almost already in place. The most, let's say, tough matchup to pick for anyone, Denver and the LA Clippers. A lot going on both sides. Could go either way. I think most people feel it is a toss-up right now who is going to win. Steve, we have been talking about this series back and forth for the last couple of days about who we think is going to win. I did tell you last night during the show meeting that I was really undecided. Well, I was kind of decided, and I was going to sleep on it and make a decision today. I'm here to tell you that I still really don't know, and I would like to present my arguments for why I can't decide, and I want to see if you can convince me.
Okay.
To make a decision. So to start with the Denver side of things of why I am optimistic. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now. I think this is probably, without doing too deep of research, his maybe best season ever in terms of just individually. And if there is ever going to be a time or a place where he proves himself in the playoffs, it is going to be here and now. There is truly not much other upside to Denver besides Jokic, but I think he is that much of a positive. And I've said this on the show before. If Denver's going to make a run, it's going to be on the back of Jokic, even though we have never seen that before. Again, if there's going to be a time, it is here and now. Jamal Murray, who we have said steps up a little bit in the playoffs, at times can take over for Jokic and, is a danger unto himself in the postseason. Jamal Murray hasn't played more than 4 straight games since the beginning of March. So his availability and his health and what he's going to do, we'll see. In his last 5 games, he's averaging 11, 5, and 5. Not super great. In the last series we saw him in, the 2024 Minnesota series, where they obviously lost to Minnesota, 18, 4, and 4. That's just not going to cut it. Denver, with their current state and their depth and the team they have, Jamal Murray needs to be doing better. We clearly have not seen that this season. And whether he'll be able to get back to that Jamal Murray, I'm not entirely sure. It's just not something we have seen yet this season. And obviously, with their coach being gone, that is never going to be a great thing. David Adelman, less than 5 games underneath his belt. How is he going to fare in the playoffs? How is he going to make those adjustments against one of the better playoff coaches in Ty Lue? Again, I have no idea, but it's certainly not something I am confident in Denver. On the Los Angeles side, the Clippers within the last 3 seasons, well, they didn't make it in 22 in the playoffs. So the 21, 23, 24 season, they have played 30 playoff games. Kawhi Leonard has been there for essentially half. Not a great outcome. Now, Kawhi Leonard, obviously, it's almost unfair to say to any player, well, they can get hurt, because that can happen to anybody at any point in time. But Kawhi Leonard, clearly, with his injury history and pattern, it is totally, I think, fair to say I am concerned about his health in the playoffs. He can die at any singular moment. I mean, the last 2 postseasons, he's played 4 games combined. So it's just not in the cards for him, apparently, to be staying healthy in an entire postseason. James Harden, we are also aware of his playoff woes and how he is the opposite of what we've been talking about players that regress in the postseason. Now, James Harden in the regular season for the last 3 years straight, he has gone from 16-5-9 to 21-6-11 to 21-7-11. Those are his last 3 seasons. In the postseason, he went 21-4-8, lost in the first round, 26-8, lost in the second round, and 18-6-8, also lost in the second round. So playoff Harden, as we have known for years, is a true thing. Now, in the first round against a team like Denver, who I kind of just got done saying may not have all the horses, how much pressure is going to be there for him, I'm not entirely sure. I think where James Harden is going to come into play is that maybe not every single game he is bad or the whole series, but this is a series I think no matter who you pick, it's going 6 or it's going 7. James Harden's going to have at least 2 or 3 games in general of bad performances. But I think in almost every single game, there's going to be a moment of, what the hell was that? Like a complete blunder, like blowing the game, and James Harden is going to be, I think, the product of that. So with their 2, weapons not being great in the postseason, with Denver really not having any weapons besides Jokic and not being a super deep team themselves, I am just having a hard time putting a flag on either side of where I want to make my claim. So, like I said, I have reservations on both sides. I'm hoping you can maybe steer me in the right direction of where you think I should go.
Me personally, I'm taking the Clippers in this series. Now, here's why I'm taking the Clippers in this series. James Harden is playing some of the best basketball he's played in the last couple seasons currently. With Kawhi Leonard only playing 37 or 38 games of the season this year, he got the Clippers at one point in time. I think they were the 4 or the 5 seed in the West. They were playing really, really well. They kind of came out of nowhere. I remember looking at you one day and saying, were you aware that the Clippers are the 5 seed? Kawhi Leonard has been in the first round 11 times in his career. He's only lost 3 times in the first round. James Harden has been in the first round 15 times. He's only lost 4 times his entire career. Since 2015, I think he's only lost twice in the first round, actually. And if Kawhi Leonard can continue, like we've said, yes, there are injury concerns, but the way he's playing leading into these playoffs give me a lot of hope for that. This is the healthiest I've seen him in a while on the court. You also have their third man, Norm Powell, averaging 20 points a game. All 3 of them this season are averaging over 20 points a game. Maybe Harden doesn't need to be the guy that's putting up 35 and 11. When he has a healthy Kawhi and a healthy Norm Powell who are scoring the way that they are, if he's having a bad shooting night, he can step back and just turn that 11 assists into 16, 17 assists and just become a facilitator. We have more questions surrounding the Nuggets than we do the Clippers at this point in the season right now. The Clippers look healthy. They're dominant. They won, 9 of their last 10? And we've always had questions about Jokic's ability to play defense. We know what he can do on the offensive end, but the Nuggets as a whole have had questions about defense in certain areas. And 3-point shooting, for one, is the biggest thing the Clippers have. The last time that Jamal Murray was having injury issues and the Nuggets needed to rely on Jokic, we saw what Jokic did. We have history of him not being able to lead a team without another star next to him. If that helps you make your decision one way or the other, I just think that right now we have less questions about the Clippers than we do about the Nuggets and their cohesiveness on the court with all of the turmoil that's just happened.
Does Denver having home court concern you?
You have 2 veteran playoff guys. So yeah, playing in Denver's hard, but Kawhi Leonard and James Harden aren't guys that they have lots of playoff experience. It doesn't concern me as much because I think with the veteran presence you have on that team, if it was a bunch of young guys we were relying on with home court advantage, I think it would matter to me more. But because it's Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, guys who have both been to the finals. James Harden didn't win, but Kawhi Leonard is a 2-time finals MVP. He knows what it takes to get the job done. So I'm not that concerned about home court advantage.
I would feel so silly if I ignored the last 5 years of playoff history of Kawhi Leonard and James Harden because I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what you're saying. It does make sense that, or I shouldn't say it makes sense. I do agree that they're playing their best basketball right now, and they're peaking at the right time. But I feel like we've heard that story about Kawhi and Harden before, that we have gotten to a place where this might be it, and then we get to the playoffs and Kawhi Leonard is leaving in a stretcher and James Harden's nowhere to be found. Jokic is playing so good right now, and they're going to have obviously the best player in the series, but then the Clippers probably have the next 2 best players, you would say. But again, when the playoffs start, I don't know how true that is. And maybe Jamal Murray, I know I just got done talking about how he hasn't been as good in the playoffs, but like you're saying with Kawhi and Harden, if this is the year that they can kind of get it together, can this be the year Jamal Murray figures it back out since the championship run? I feel like in my head, I'm trying to convince myself to pick the Clippers, but I want to pick Denver.
Either argument's a good argument.
I think
I'll listen to either argument. I think this is a lot closer than people are thinking this is going to be.
I think I'm going to go Denver in 7.
Okay. I said, when you pick a team to win in 7, it's literally, that means that it's going to be a series that literally could go either way.
They're also the Nuggets are also plus 100 to win. So either right now, the Clippers are favored to win the series. So I guess we'll see. It's a toss up, like we've been saying. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Denver, LA. Who you got? Moving on to our second topic, the Golden State Warriors officially being the 7th seed in the Western Conference playoffs, beating the Memphis Grizzlies on Tuesday night, 121-116. Jimmy and Steph combining for 75 points. Golden State rolling right now, Steve. A lot of people saying that they can make a deep run and that Golden State is a legitimate playoff and title contender. What are your thoughts on Golden State right now, and just how far can they go? And are they legitimate title contenders?
Here's the reality. The way that the bracket broke down is going to make it really hard for them. Right now, they're playing really good basketball. Playoff Jimmy seems to be a thing once again. I'm sorry to let you know that as a Heat fan, but playoff Jimmy seems to still be a thing. We know that Steph can get hot at any given moment, right? But we also know that Steph has had playoff concerns a majority of his career. Until recently, right? We've said that there's a lot of times he underperforms in the playoffs, right? So having playoff Jimmy helps, but a lot of times Steph's success was paired with Klay Thompson, their ability to play off one another, right? Now, Steph and Jimmy are playing off each other very well, but to me, do they have enough to get through the Lakers? No. I think they beat the Rockets in 5. Not believers in the Rockets at the 2 seed with the youth having to go against the Golden State Warriors, right? But I do think that they'll easily win in the first round. I do not have them making it out of the second round if they have to play the Lakers. I just don't think. I am not betting against LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Never have in my life, and I'm not going to start today.
Yeah, and the big part of that is what you said at the beginning, where this could have been a lot different had Golden State had a different seed, but they're just on the wrong side of the bracket.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was preventable and could have been fixed by them. So since Jimmy Butler has gotten, let me rephrase. When Jimmy Butler first got there, he's played about 30 games with Golden State since the trade. In the first 15 games, they went 14-1. In the second set of 15 games, they went 9-6. So still a winning record, clearly not as impactful. But the game last night was also, or I guess they're recording on Tuesday night, was also very telling about their season and why they don't have it all in the tank. So at the end of the first quarter, the score was 35-21 Golden State, clearly up by a pretty big margin. At the end of the second quarter, it then goes to 67-55. Halfway through the second quarter, Golden State was up by 20. Halfway through the fourth, halfway through the third, they're up by 10. And again, the game ends 121-116. That's a 5-point game. That has been the season for Golden State since Jimmy has gotten there. Strong starts, can't finish. And that's how their games have been as well. They've sort of like I was saying to you last night with Miami. Blow in leads, can't hold on to them, can't close out games. You need to have that in the NBA playoffs. You just have to. And while I truly believe in playoff Jimmy, obviously, whether he's back or not after one playing game against the Grizzlies, who haven't beaten anybody legitimate in months, I don't know. I don't want to overreact. Steph also playing really well. We'll see when they play against, I think, again, not a legitimate team, but a better team in Houston. I think you said 5. I think that at least goes 6. But I just can't believe in Golden State because, again, I don't think when it comes down to it, as the deeper you go, they're going to start falling off more and more and more. And Jimmy, like I said, when he was being traded in the finals with Miami, not the same person he was. Bam was the best player on that team, didn't have it in the tank. This season was kind of weird. I think it's a hard thing to go through all of that and then find that inner thing within yourself, even though Jimmy has been playing and meshing and vibing really well with Golden State. I just don't think that you can get through all that emotional baggage and stuff throughout the season and still be the peak playoff performer you can. So I just think Golden State, and also before Jimmy got there, which really the roster's about the same, just swapping Jimmy and Andrew Wiggins, let's say, no one thought Golden State was going to go on a run. Like, no one was saying Golden State looked like a legitimate contender at that point. And again, Jimmy, with what happened, it may or may not be the same. So I just think Golden State falls up a little bit short. Had they done better in the season, different conversation, but it is what it is.
No, very well said. The only thing I will say is, I know this was only one game for Jimmy Butler, but it was a must-win game for them to make the playoffs. Obviously, they would have had a second shot, but the fact that it's a must-win game, and I think early in the second quarter, I said to you, were you aware that Jimmy has 16, 3-3? So Steph was not playing well early on. He came on, obviously, in the second half, but Jimmy came out the gate hot. In must-win games, in moments where his team needs him.
Butler! Long shot! Good!
He always shows up. I do think they're going to easily handle the Rockets, but I do think they lose against the Lakers. I don't think, even if playoff Jimmy is back, I do not think that's enough to get them past the Lakers.
And I also don't think, just from like a basketball standpoint, outside of Steph Curry, I don't think the Warriors are that. Now, I'm talking as a non-professional basketball player. Right. They don't seem that hard to guard. Like, I don't think the way they play the game and the setup and the roster construction and, the way they run their offense, I don't think they'd be that hard to beat and stop, especially, for example, a team like Houston, where you are such a good defensive and, a good rebounding team, where Golden State is a smaller lineup. And I just think that they have a lot more holes to poke in their playoff performances than these other teams do. And again, the ultimate thing is it's on the wrong side, but that could have been preventable had they been a better team.
100%.
Moving on to our third and final topic, it is everyone's favorite game show, Who Is That? In case you forget what Who Is That is, it is a game where Steve and I try to guess the NBA or NFL player in 5 clues or less. The less guesses you take, the better. Last time it was Steve giving me the clues, so now I'm going to give Steve the clues. Steve, I don't want to call it redemption, but you took all 5 clues last time, so trying to get a better score this time. Are you ready to play? Who is that?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. All right. First question, basic information. I am a 9-time All-NBA team member, a 9-time All-Star, and a 1-time champion, averaging 16, 4, and 7.
It's either a guard or a forward. If it's a forward,
those would be the two
no,
positions against centers.
If it's a forward, it would have to be a guy who was passed first. So I'm gonna go with this as a 1 or 2 guard. 9 years of being all NBA or an all-star. I would imagine he probably has a few firsts, but not many. Maybe 1 or 2, because 16, 4, and 7 isn't like, it's not crazy, but it could also be an older player, so those stats could be okay. 1 ring definitely helps because I can go back through the teams and who would have won like 1 ring with them. Yeah, Jason Kidd.
It is not Jason Kidd. Although I don't hate that guess. It's not a bad guess. Clue number 2. I had a 17-year career playing for 5 different teams over that span.
I mean, that's right on par with the Jason Kidd take.
Kinda.
So for 17 years, so for more than half of your career, which right about half, you were top 15 player in the league. If you're making all NBAs for second, third, 5 each, top 15 player in the league.
Quick math.
And over 5 teams, you probably were a second man. Maybe for a few, probably were a Robin. Maybe for a few years you were a Batman, but
you're not doing bad at the descriptions. You're pretty close with guessing his career or guessing like what his role was.
This would have to be it can't be him. Could it? Wait. Chauncey Billups.
It is not Chauncey Billups, but you are killing these guesses. Clue number 3. I have 9 straight All-NBA defensive teams. All of them being first teams.
This is Drew Holiday.
This is not Drew Holiday. That's been your worst guess so far for sure.
Yeah, the nine All-NBAs, that man definitely.
Clue number 4. I was the Defensive Player of the Year in 1996.
Oh, God. It's just Scottie Pippen.
It is not Scottie Pippen. Man, you are making me nervous now. I'm afraid to give you the last clue.
Wait.
You want to try another guess before I give you the last clue?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, but the thing is like, I want to say a name, but I don't think he ever won a ring. But I'm not sure. Gary Payton?
It is Gary Payton.
That was going to be...
Gary Payton was a part of the 2006 Miami Heat championship team.
I did not know that.
Yep.
That was going to be my original third guess, but I literally couldn't think of a team that he would have won a ring on. Mm-hmm. I did not. Didn't he retire in 06 too? Wasn't that his last year? Didn't he win the ring with them and retire?
I think that is correct, yes.
Anyways, that's a good clue, dude. Yeah, well done, man.
My last clue, which I was really hoping you had to get it at this point. The team I was drafted to in 1990 no longer exists in the NBA.
Yeah, I would have gotten that. Great person. That, man, I did not. Well done. Well
Thank you. Yeah, it took me a while to think of one, and I actually had a hard time. I was gonna give you the All-NBA defensive teams in the first clue, and I was like, I'm afraid I was gonna give it away too fast. And honestly, 9 straight first teams is a good clue within itself. Like, that's not normal that everyone does. So I figured that was enough to be its own thing.
Well done.
Thank you. That was a good round. I really enjoyed that one. You gotta come in less than 5, man. You gotta. One of these days, you're gonna
one
get
day.
there. I believe in you. But hey, we hope you enjoyed this round of Who Is That? If you have suggestions for either one of us to give the other person, let us know. Comment below, and we will try to get all your player suggestions in. But this has been another episode of Who Is That? And that's going to do it for us today, folks. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Sound, another great installment. We hope you are enjoying the NBA playoffs as they get ready and rolling. We hope you are rooting for LeBron to get another championship and just continue to build his resume against Michael Jordan. And folks, always remember.
Heat in 6.
God, I knew it. As soon as I said it, I'm like, he's going to say Heat in 6. I don't know why I'm mad. I should be supporting him. I knew it was going to happen. If you are ever in need of intelligent and cogent sports analysis, listen to this. We will always have you covered. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. We hope you have a great rest of your day or night. Stay warm, stay safe, take care. We'll see you next time.
Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.